Alright guys, so if you clicked on this video, you are trying to start making games in Roblox Studio, and I could not recommend it more. This video is going to be for beginners, pretty much, but if you need a quick refresher, this will be a great quick 10-minute video to get you familiarized back with the platform of Roblox Studio. I do suggest following along with me, so if you want to go ahead and put me on your phone, I'm in your phone. That might be a better move right now. A link for Roblox Studio will be in the description below, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this. All right, so we're on Roblox Studio right now. We're not gonna worry about anything down here. We're gonna go ahead and start off by pressing New Experience on the left, okay? When we are in here, as you can see, we start off, there we go. We start off with a base plate, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and move my webcam. Now, if your screen looks a little bit different than mine, don't be scared. If you hover over Window at the top, you can go ahead and click on Toolbox, Properties, Explorer, and Asset Manager. Something cool about Roblox Studio is that you can actually move all of these around. If I want Explorer over here, I'll put it over there. I really don't want it over there, but I'm just saying if I really wanted it to, it could be right there if I needed it to. Okay, so you have your Toolbox, you have your Asset Manager, you have your Properties, and your Explorer. This is a good time to tell you, if you have absolutely any questions about anything that I talk about in this video, please don't be afraid to ask me in the comments or tweet me. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. All right, so starting out with what are we even doing here, right? Like, how do you do this and how do you build it into these incredible games that we see on the platform? Well, it all starts with your top row here, right? So I'm not going to talk about everything because we have a lot to get to, but I'm just going to tell you the more important things. So if we go ahead and look at the part button up here, right? If you press the little arrow next to it, you see block, sphere, wedge, corner wedge, and cylinder. We're going to start by pressing block. As you can see, a block is going to go ahead and spawn. Now, obviously, it looks kind of boring. So, you can move it around by just clicking and holding it and moving it wherever you want to go. And, you can put it on top of things, whatever. But there's not really much to it. So we're going to get to what we can do with it in a second, but we're just going to keep looking at parts real fast. So go ahead and make a sphere part by pressing the sphere. And as you can see, we have a ball. There we go. Pretty fun. So when it comes to the parts, when you see all of these like walls and you see all these like environments in Roblox, every single game uses a part, unless it's a GUI based game, but that's a long story. Every single game uses parts, okay? Every part can be transformed, all right? And that brings us to this little tab up here. Select, move, scale, rotate, and transform. If you go ahead and select your square again by just clicking on it, go ahead and press the move button. You're going to see these green, blue, and red arrows that pop up. This is super easy for moving things around because before, if I go back to select, I was just moving it like this. But if we go to move, we can use these arrows to get like a solid number based of studs that we're moving. And studs is basically just think about like the units in Roblox, the universal units used, right? So green means up and down using your y-axis. Blue means left and right. And so does red. So I guess they both mean left and right. Northwest, east, and south. Anyway, so that's your move button. The next one is the scale, and it's a very similar situation. So as you can tell with your move button, you see the green makes you go up. If you scale and you hold down the green circle and go up, it makes your block go higher. If you hold the red, it makes it go that way. Very easy. This affects thickness, right? Or width, whatever you want to call it. So you can have a thick boy, or you can have a skinny boy that's really small. Pause. Anyway, that's pretty much all you need to know about the scale function. It's very helpful. It's used everywhere. I can make like a giant wall. Look at that giant wall. Isn't that cool? Something that you do need to know, though, is that you're still able to move things around by clicking and holding if you're not pressing one of these dots. For example, you see this blue dot? I can just click here and move it around anywhere, right? Okay, next we got rotate. This one's super easy. Same situation. You can see like a little sphere pop up, and if you click anywhere on one of these circles, you can see they're like different spaces that they rotate in that direction. So if I click and hold on green and I rotate it this way, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, it snaps into place. Look at that. We can rotate it however we want. But if we use the red one, we can tilt it forward, we can tilt it back, whatever you want to do. And the blue one makes it go that way. All right, good job. So moving on, we have the transform button. Now this one's kind of weird. Think about like on Photoshop and Pixlr, like you have or Google Slides even, like you have the little things you can do to make it bigger. If you click the bottom left, as you can see, oh crap, the bottom left, you have a lot more control on how many studs you want to make something. This could be useful if you're really trying to do something specific. You could rotate it like that or do whatever, just move it. Basically, I like to think about the transform feature as just having, as much fun as you want to have with it. But let's go back to the sphere, right? Just click it by selecting it, go back to your select at the top left. And you're going to look in your properties function. Now, again, this might be on your left side. It does not matter. Do not worry. If you want to make this a little bit bigger, just like over here, I'll zoom in, but like right here, you can see you can click and hold this to make it a little bit bigger, to make that as big as you want. Our window is pretty large now. We're going to stare at this ball. So we see in the properties function. And again, if you don't have properties, press window properties, right? Okay, so you see appearance and brick color. If you click this, you'll have plenty of colors that you can use. There's black to different colors of white down here, and over here there's like greens and blues and just beautiful colors. So we're gonna make this cool yellow. I did that by just going right here. You can turn off it having a shadow, right? So if you don't want your block to have a shadow, just turn that off. A great thing about Roblox Studio is that you don't need to code a bunch of stuff, right? There is code that we'll get to in a later video if you guys want it, but and when it comes to actual UI of different blocks, it's very much just drag and drop, which I love. So the colors, this pretty much you can just change the color to whatever you want. It's just, you know, hexa, whatever. Brick color is just easier in my opinion. If you really have like a certain color that you're going for, you know, the color variable is a good way to do that. But I just like kind of just, you know, choosing something random. We're gonna go back to that yellow. All right. So the material is really helpful. So material, as you can see, there are quite a few. If you go to the ends, because it's in alphabetical order, go to neon. This is what's used in a lot of Roblox games, especially the more modern ones. So if we make this, let's say we make it white. Look at that. Super bright. You see this in a lot of the anime games. This might even be an animation using one of these spheres for like a move or something like that because it's neon. So, you know, the neon function's pretty neat. You can also make it, let's do brick at the very top. It looks like brick now. So again, this isn't just for spheres. You can do this with the, you can do this with like the rectangles or whatever you want. So we're going to skip reflectance and we're going to go to transparency. So transparency is very cool. This is good for invisible walls. So if you want to like make this go a little bit to 1, your character can still run into it. Now we're going to skip transform just because we kind of already did that. That's a little bit more advanced that I can get into with a different video. But we're going to scroll down to can collide. So this is where I don't really... If, say you had like a bush on the ground, right? Like, let's pretend that this sphere was a bush. If we turned off can collide, the player can just walk through it. That's really helpful if like you have a nice little environment and you don't want your player to get stuck on a bunch of the little flower models that you might make. Because again, you can make flowers by just simply going to putting your little brick on the ground, scaling this way down, making it skinny, putting your ball on top of it. And this is a really ugly flower, but you get the idea. We can scale this way down too, and do whatever. I mean, it's literally like your entire sandbox. You know, we could make this like a taller green stem, turn this into like a little rose on top of it. You know, there's so many things that we could do. But we're scrolling back down to can collide, and if we have it off, it just makes it so the player can run into it. All right, anchored. So this is a very important thing. If you take nothing else from this video, listen to this. So you'll see anchored right here, and you'll see anchored right here. Every time you use a part, you want to anchor it. Let me show you why. If I just get into the game real fast, I'll go ahead and press the play button at the top left. You'll notice, where did my ball go? And also, I can just knock that over. You don't want to be able to knock your stuff over. So if I anchor this, you'll notice it actually stays in place. So it's pretty helpful to make sure that if your stuff is anchored or you're trying to like save your game, you don't want your walls to tumble. Make sure you anchor them. I have just one more example that I'll show real fast. Say we're building like a big wall, right? We're going to go ahead and press play. If it's anchored, look at that. I can run into it and be just fine. If I deselect my anchor, go back to play, if my player goes against this wall, they're able to knock it over. That's not very good. That pretty much covers the properties tab in terms of the basic shapes. So now we're going to quickly talk about terrain. So if you notice right next to part at the top, terrain, create and edit. If you generate, we're going to worry about the others later, but press generate, you can notice that you'll have a little box here. Notice you have your arrows and your scale little circles from earlier. You can use these to scale or move, as the name implies, and we're going to move this a little bit away from the spawn area by using those arrows, just so we don't mess this up, right? And we're going to go ahead, not really mess with the size over here, and we're going to do biomes. We can do mountains, hills, plains, do whatever you want. I'm going to do marsh. If you want to follow along, press the marsh button, and you can mess with all this biome size, you know, caves, blending, whatever. Press generate. You'll notice that it made a little thingy here. So let's go ahead and press select, and here's your little terrain. Now, obviously, it doesn't look very good because it wasn't really big enough. But if we go back to generate, and we make this way taller, way longer, way more like that, and we generate again, Now we're starting to get somewhere, right? So we're going to zoom out, and I just did that by pressing WASD and scrolling with my mouse. We're going to make this pretty freaking big, right? Look at that. Press generate, and as you can tell, it is generating us an entire level. And this is super helpful because if you generate this entire level, you don't have to make it yourself. This is helpful if you're making whatever. You don't have to worry about this being anchored or anything like that. It's already pre-done for you. Now, obviously, there's some caveats, like this water is a little bit weird looking, but all of this can be edited with this. And I'll get into terrain editing in a different video if you'd like me to. But that shows you how to make some basic looking biomes and things like that. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to be demonstrating in this video is the toolbox. The toolbox is super helpful if you want to. So we're going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so over here, you're going to see a toolbox. So the toolbox is pretty helpful if you want to make pretty much anything. Now, these models are actually models that are uploaded by other players. Be careful though. Some of these can have viruses if they have scripts in them. Most of them are fine. Check out the rating. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up sword. And if you're not seeing what I see, make sure you have this clicked and you have models and not plugins or something like that. But look up sword, and you're going to see sword by Roblox. Everything by Roblox is safe. You're going to click this and drag it in. And as you can tell, it says sword includes 2 scripts. That's okay. It's by Roblox. You can see 91% likes, 20K of those. It's probably fine, right? And you have a little sword here. Now, our spawn is all the way over here. So if we have a level that we want to try real fast, how do we get to over here? If you look at the top left and you click the arrow next to test, you're going to do test here. Okay, and you're going to press the little play button next to it. Now we spawn here. We can get our little sword. Oh, that is so loud. And we have a sword. So, you know, the toolbox is very helpful. And there's pretty much... Oh, I saw my generate thing open. Make sure you turn off your terrain editor. There we go. For the sake of this video, if you're starting to like lag a little bit, because I just realized I was, go ahead and go to the terrain editor. And instead of pressing generate, go to clear and clear all terrain. That'll fix our little problem. Let's go back to our earlier area. Okay, so in this toolbox, you can look up, like, let's just say treehouse. Here's a treehouse, 88%, 60,000 people. Look at that. You have a big-ass treehouse right in the middle of your thingy. Now, again, these levels are very helpful. You know, the toolbox can be very beneficial, but you also don't want to only use free models. Your game's going to look cheap. So, examples of free models that I've used in the past is I've used a shark, right? I'm not a very good 3D modeler. So I found a shark that was really highly rated, that looked pretty safe. And I noticed if I pressed OK after doing it, and I can test here. Well, he definitely kills me. All this can be edited. I actually think the shark might have to actually be in the water that was in the terrain, but that's a whole different story. But anyway, that's pretty much going to end it for this video. If you guys found this helpful, please consider leaving me a like or subscribing. It would mean the world to me. Please go ahead and check out my music. It's Robify on Spotify, and my Instagram is right here. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys have a great rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.